Today we're going to be going through the search analytics in the new marketing dashboard available for Funnelback version 15. For the purpose of this demonstration, I've taken some data from a generic healthcare provider. Now, just a quick introduction into the marketing dashboard. The marketing dashboard has been designed to allow you to understand how users are interacting with your search and then make some informed business decisions off the back of that information. Now, the first thing probably to show you is that search analytics has been split into three different subsets. You have your searches, your clicks, and your locations. The interface I'm showing you right now is an overview of the search analytics. I've got the number of searches, the number of clicks, the top country for where people are searching from, and the top city suburb. In this instance, it's obviously too widespread to glean the one top city, and the top segment. If you're in doubt to that, just click on the question mark. So the top segment is seeing if it can find the top organization of where search users are coming from. I believe Sherwood Incorporated is a data hosting provider in this instance. The next thing to notice is that we've made a graphical format of the searches and clicks. See here, we've got a nice, it just allows you to do some great pattern analysis. It can be great of use if you're launching a particular campaign or you want to see any seasonal effects or seasonal changes between how users interact with your search. And also a great thing is a way that you can time frame and compare from different areas. So let's have a look between. So we've got that was 1st December to 31st December in 2015. How about let's try and compare that with instances in 2016. There we go. So in the red, we've got 2015 data, and in the blue, 2016. And what we can see here clearly from the overview and by looking at the graph is that we've got a huge volume in traffic increase in 2016. Now, the reason of this could be a multitude of things. Those of you who run the website will have a better idea than myself. But one of the new nifty things as well is we're able to annotate these graphs. So if there's a particular area here, so if I do that, so this is when your annual review information came out. I'm using a trackpad, so please do excuse the styling. I could then export that as a PDF. And fire that off over an email or print that off and put that on my boss's desk and let him know, we have been doing these campaigns and we're seeing a real drive in value, or this is the reason for a spike in traffic. So it all goes back to understanding more about how the user is interacting, doing some pattern analysis, and moving and using that information for the better. I think in this instance, we got this nice wave format. December the 5th is on the weekend, so same as December the 12th. And I think we all know what happens on December 25th, which probably explains this huge dip in traffic. Moving on to the searches area. So searches are the queries that people are making over your website. Here I'm still being able to look at the graph and interact with the graph much like before. I can download it, save it as a CSV, or annotate it or print it off. But what's interesting in this dashboard is the top keywords and also the top unanswered keywords. So what are unanswered keywords? It's what people are searching for on your website that isn't getting a direct match for any of your content. So this could be spelling mistakes or a particularly long query like this. It's very specific. You're not going to have content with all of that into it. But it also can be other things such as the way that your content is written. Does that interact with the way that users interact with that? I think in councils here, if someone's searching for refuge, they want to, and all your content references as garbage, you might have to make some decisions based on that. And this is really to help you understand how your users speak to you. Other areas here, we've got our searches hourly distribution at the bottom here. Queries are a lot more prominent during the day than the wee hours. That's understandable. Top 400 keywords. You can search in here. So if you're looking for it, if someone's asked for a particular query, then you can quickly identify that. You don't have to search through the whole list. And you can export this as a CSV if someone is interested. But one of the new aspects is to really be able to drill down at a much more granular level, right down to the query. So I've clicked on the detail for BMI. Remember, this is a healthcare provider. And I've still got my the graphical analysis to show the spikes and the reduction in query. No surprise that people are searching for BMI in January, the beginning of January. But also, what are they clicking on? The top 16 clicks from that search query to understand, are they getting to the right amount of content? Now, BMI is quite a great instance for not just understanding how people are searching over content. We also allow you to create some actions directly from here. So I could run the search query from the SEO auditor. I could create a best bet, or I could create a synonym perhaps. And I think for the BMI, obviously it's an acronym for body mass index. I think synonym is probably the best way to move forward. So here we go. I can have a body mass index. I can add this in here. There we go. Boom, add and publish. Brilliant. That's working in the live search. From that, looking at the information, I then action that and transformed in the front end for my user base. And obviously the synonyms, it doesn't just have to be for acronyms. If there's a particular product that everyone uses, say if someone searches for NutriBullet, then you could expand that search to search for blender if you provided blenders, for instance. It doesn't just have to be in this instance. Moving on to the next template, the next dashboard is clicks. So we've looked at what people are searching for. You can now investigate what people are clicking on. Areas of content that are getting a lot of love, a lot of interest, or perhaps the opposite. I'll just let this load for 2 seconds. Here we go. But we can also understand what best bets are being clicked. So if there's a particular best bet you weren't sure was getting much traffic, you could look at the count. And then either decide to remove it or to change the terminology. But you can also do the same for faceted navigation and contextual navigation. So for faceted navigation, unfortunately, this data set doesn't have any faceted navigation. But if you had filters on your website search or enterprise search, this is a great way to understand, are my user base interacting with it? Are there too many? Or are they using it a lot? They like to refine their search. And it gives you a good business case to either keep them or remove them. And as always, like in the searches, these are all searchable and exportable via CSV. One of the final areas to take a look at, and it was one of the most amount of work we've done through version 15, is this locations. So we've now given you a graphical representation of where people in the world are accessing your search and the volumes of that said traffic. So in this instance, we're seeing a lot of searches in the United States, but also a splattering in the United Kingdom. But then I'm still using the time frame comparisons here. And then I can see here that the spread here is in some different areas of the United States. So this, a different product or a different product launch, you can see if you're gaining traction and what they're searching from. If the IPs allow it, you can find out particular cities and suburbs. So in this instance, Indianapolis, Warrington, London and Manchester are coming up. The States is overwhelmingly a majority. You could also search a specific IP. If you knew the IP of a particular company you were targeting and you've done quite sort of marketing towards that, then you could search an IP, see if people are interacting with the search. And this all comes back to personalizing the search based on what you know about the user. So you know your content, your user base more than anyone, but changing the relevancy ranking, adding best bets, adding curator rule sets based on where people are searching from can drive a lot of real value for the search interface, and that's what we want this dashboard to really provide. So that was a quick run through of search analytics. Stay tuned. Keep looking at the website for any updates for more featured